Welcome to Keep What You Earn, a show for entrepreneurs and business owners who want to scale and build enterprise value without making costly mistakes. I'm your host, Shannon. I'm a CFO and CPA who left a career serving Fortune 50 companies in Wall Street to help business owners just like you make life-changing wealth with your business. These episodes are meant to be super tactical and actionable, but please remember, consult your own financial professional before you implement anything you learn in this podcast. Now, if you'd be interested in working with us to do so, check out the show notes for more information about our company, Keep What You Earn Co. All right, let's start the show. One of the things I see happen when you cross 5 million in revenue mostly is that you start contemplating actually bringing your finance function in-house. And what you're looking for is someone who is more reliable, maybe more attentive, more in tune with the details of your business that also happens to work in finance. What you're probably looking for is the solution to a couple of problems. One being that you have maybe a bookkeeper that's outsourced, a CPA who does your taxes. You're stitching together a few professionals here. But at the end of the day, you're still that glue. You're still the person who has to oversee the bookkeeper to some extent, answer their questions. You're still the person who has to interface with the CPA, answer their questions. And at the end of the day, you're probably not net gaining a lot of time back. You're just redirecting your time from doing the day-to-day tracking of everything to leading the people who are doing that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But this is where a lot of business owners get caught up and they start actually wasting time, is because when you are focused on we'll say the low cost alternative of a bookkeeper and a CPA, I say low cost because at a certain point, your revenue being at about 5 million, you can accommodate potentially a hire in this area. And unfortunately, it's not a priority. I say unfortunately because it's a little self-serving, but it's not priority most of the time because it's not revenue generating typically. And I think when you're reaching that 3 to 5 million zone, to get there, you have to prioritize revenue generating roles. I mean, we all do. We want to grow and we want to scale, and we're probably going to pour more gasoline on the sales and marketing machine. But at a certain point, and this is the whole theme of the podcast, keep what you earn is more than just earnings, more than just generating earnings. You have to make sure you're hanging on to it. You have to make sure you're minimizing the risk of you then losing that money or paying it in taxes. And that's really fundamentally what this whole show is about. It's about helping you accomplish that. Now, when we think about making that strategic hire in your business, what's really important to consider is really what you want to have for interaction with this person, what you expect of this person. And the biggest struggle I see at this level, when you're even contemplating this coming in-house, is that maybe you don't know how to lead this person. You don't know how to hold them accountable. Why? Because you don't know what they're actually supposed to be doing. Let's admit it. You may not know what your finance function is supposed to be doing. You probably want to hire them out of the sheer fact that you don't want to know what they're doing. You don't want to get involved. You don't want to learn. And that is okay because that's probably where you should be. Is you probably don't want to learn this stuff because you just want to see it handled. Now, there's a difference between learning scalable business tactics, the things we teach on this show. Like, I love that you're here and you're learning, hopefully, from me and from our guests. But when I talk about learning, I mean talking about learning the technical, learning the ins and outs of the buttons to push in QuickBooks, learning how to do journal entries, learning how to actually track all your stuff. And learning how to track all of it is not important. Learning what the tracking means and why you're tracking it, that's important. So when you go to make this hire, what's really important is that you understand how to lead them. Because if you actually want to have a well-performing finance team, you're going to have to step up as a leader and lead them. Now, if you don't know what they're supposed to be doing, that's really difficult. So this is actually how I want to position what we do as fractional CFOs, because this is something that became abundantly clear to me the more I talk to business owners at this level, is that you are stuck in this place of the bookkeeper's not enough. they're a little bit too junior. They don't know my business intimately enough, and they're consuming a lot of my time. My CPA only talks to me once a year, maybe twice. It takes a month for them to get back to me. I need more accountability to the team that's going to be holding my numbers in their hands. If I'm going to hold these people responsible for taking custody of my data, I need to have better data sooner, faster. I need to have better data consolidated and clean and in a clear and understandable way so I can make business decisions based off of it. And is that so much to ask, right? And that's where a true finance function comes in, a CFO comes in. But here's the thing. A good CFO, like if you're going to hire a CFO in-house, a rock solid CFO is going to command at that title, they're going to command somewhere in the $200,000s probably minimum. And until you're ready to make such a strategic hire in your business, there are other alternatives. And obviously, I'm going to share with you the fractional alternative, which is what we do. But this is truly an optimal solution. Like, I could not be more passionate about making people aware of this option, because there's this messy middle in between you having outgrown your bookkeeper, outgrown the $500 a month solution, but you're not ready for the 200 grand a year solution. And unfortunately, up until now, there hasn't really been a clear definition of what happens in between.
Hey, real quick, are you learning anything in this episode that you think is share worthy? Well, if you could take a quick screenshot and share any of your biggest takeaways or quotes from this episode, post it to Instagram and make sure to tag me at Shannon K. Weinstein and at Keep What You Earn. Thank you so much for listening to the show. Let's dive back in.
And it's a very messy zone. And what's cool is you've got fractional CFOs now that are becoming more prominent, just like us. And what we do is we come in and we deliver the value. Any one of my team, so myself, Erica, our controller, our accountant, they can all go and they can go get jobs if they want to and command killer salaries. But they wanted to come here and serve all the various business owners we serve on a fractional level because it's more interesting. It's more fun. We multiply what we learn. We can foster a high performing environment. I know how to hold them accountable. I know how to lead my team. And so what's cool is not only with a fractional team do you get the value of the knowledge, right? The experience. We probably have among us 40, 50 years of experience collected. And not only that, we have licensed people. We have people who are certified in multiple things. And we've got a variety of backgrounds, experiences, degrees. I believe we have a master's in accountancy. We have a CPA. We have someone who's pursuing their EA, which is the enrolled agent. So we're a well-rounded team. But what's cool is if you were to go out and go to the marketplace and you were to try to recruit these people, number one, you have to recruit them. You have to hire them. You have to be competitive with benefits. You then have to make sure they have company assets and equipment. They're on your systems. They're IT compliant. You have to make sure that you've got all the agreements signed and all the things, the confidentiality agreements. And then on top of that, now they have to show up and be onboarded, go through your HR process. Then we have to get them enrolled in benefits and 401k. So you see, like, hiring an employee is a lot. And not only that, you may not be experienced in hiring someone in the finance seat because, maybe you don't know how to evaluate these people. It's really hard because we do a case study. So if I hire somebody in the client service area, so if I'm hiring a controller, an accountant, a CFO, I put them through a case study of a set of financials, which is a doctored up, inspired by copy of financials from someone I've done a consult with that had messy books. Okay. And it's very much modified. There's zero trail of who this is. It's just made up numbers, but it's inspired by. And what ends up happening is we do this case study and we evaluate for the technical skills. And I realized this when we hired our most recent person. I thought to myself, you know what? I wish our clients knew how to evaluate this. Like if they were going to hire somebody in-house to become full-time, let's say they outgrow the fractional and they want to go full-time. I said, I really want to be involved in the hiring process because I don't know if our clients necessarily could evaluate technical skill or evaluate the skills necessary to thrive in their business. And honestly, I don't expect them to because they're not finance experts. So what Instead, I wanted to focus on was helping my founders, my business owners that we serve, helping them become more knowledgeable about how to be a leader of people who are quote unquote smarter than them in certain areas. I say in certain areas, right? Like I really want to hire people who are smarter than me in every area. And you should too. But if you're hiring someone who knows more about finance than you do, this is what you need to focus on. You have to focus on getting the help you need to hire them. Now, of course, you can chat GPT your way through this a little bit. But one thing that we've offered people is the help with simply hiring their next finance hire. So, for example, if we come in as CFO and somebody wants to hire an in-house accountant, billing specialist, accounts payable, whatever it looks like, they want to hire this person. We will help them interview them. We will help them evaluate. We will help them with what their comp should probably look like, because this is something we're experts in. So, and even if we're not the ongoing fractional CFO, this is something we can help with because we know what to look for. We know good talent from bad talent. And that alone will save you thousands upon thousands, because a bad hire in this area just sucks. I'm not going to lie. It just sucks. And even if you're still thinking of doing the full-time and not the fractional, I would encourage you to kind of use this as a hack and call on a fractional CFO on a project basis to come in and evaluate your candidates, come in and evaluate the technical, come in and critique your job description, look at the overall picture, possibly share it with their network and let people know that you're hiring. Like, think of all the value that you could get out of just engaging with a fractional CFO for their expertise in what you need, in diagnosing what you need and being able to help you find it. They may not be the solution, but they can definitely help you find it. So when you're hiring someone in finance, what I want you to be aware of is A, it's an expensive hire at times. So really consider the fractional route. B, make sure you know how to lead this person, or you have someone installed in your company who can, so that you're able to hold them accountable to the right duties of the role, and that you don't end up overpaying for basic bookkeeping if you think you're hiring a higher level role, and that you don't ignore what they're doing and assume they're smarter than you, they must know what to do. That's just not an effective way to lead. And then number 3, I would say, is engaging with a CFO, fractional CFO, somebody who's an expert, even if you don't hire them for the position, engaging with them to identify the skills, traits, the necessary requirements that you need in order to find this person. Not to mention what your job description will need to include in order to attract those people. Think of it like market research. Like, this is somebody who could be your ideal client, an ideal employee avatar, in the form of, hey, you know how to do finance stuff. Tell me if this is a good job description to attract somebody like you. And they'll tell you, hopefully. So these are all things that I think you could definitely do as a business owner, and you could definitely take advantage of by way of getting a little creative with how you engage a fractional CFO. Even if you're not hiring them on a month-to-month basis, there's so much that you can gain from simply having someone in your circle that has this level of expertise.
Okay, so if you've been listening to the show for a while, you know I love talking about profit and cash flow. But if you've mastered these things, the next level thing to be focused on is your customer value. If you have to constantly hustle to sell more and hit your revenue goals, it's important to think about how you can deliver more value, build retention, and maximize the lifetime profitability of every customer. When you invest in a power session, we're able to dive into your customer acquisition cost and determine some personalized strategies to decrease your costs and increase the lifetime value of your customers. Click the link in the show notes to learn more.